was recently asked about my inspiration for writing life lessons, living in full effectiveness, which is 31 Proverbs for a life of purpose and productivity. My inspiration for this book comes from my favorite book in the Bible, which is a book of Proverbs. Proverbs gives us 31 chapters that don't just provide philosophies or principles, but it gives practical application for effective living. This book is designed to not just tell you how to live the life that I think you should have, but to help you live the life that you want to live. And so Life Lessons is designed to encourage and empower everyday people to get everything out of life. If you're ready to get your life, visit thelifelessonsbook.com. Come on, let's get to life.
Dr. RickyAllmon's new book, Life Lessons, is focused on purpose, productivity, and faith. Let's first talk about the book that you have.
So you have 31 Proverbs, but my favorite one is actually the first one. Of course, anybody going through the book, they may have another one that's their favorite, but my favorite is the first one. It's called Show Your Scars. And that life thought deals with the fact that your scars are more than a reminder of your past.
Absolutely.
It's a reward for your survival.
Yes.
It's a sign that your wound has healed. And so oftentimes when people look at their scars, they go, oh, there can't be anything good about this, because they think about the miserable moment or the unfortunate circumstance that gave them that scar. What they're not realizing is that scar is actually a sign that there's more left in front of them than behind them. Ralph Waldo Emerson said it best. He said, what lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. Good evening, everybody. I hope you are doing well. I'm Dr. RickyAllmon. I'm your future facilitator and life strategist, spiritual strategist, personal motivator. Welcome to Life Talks, Leadership After Dark. The whole purpose of this conversation is for us to empower you to explore your potential, engage your passions, and expand your possibilities. So here's what I need you to do right now as we get started. If you're on Facebook, go ahead and share this on your timeline right now, or as they say, right now. Go ahead and share this. Come on, get it out. Share this with somebody. You don't want to miss this conversation tonight. I promise you it's going to add to your life. So share this on your timeline if you're on Facebook. As a matter of fact, you can start a watch party. Go ahead and start a watch party so that the people that are connected to you can connect to this conversation. And then you all can go back and have a conversation about the conversation. If you're on YouTube, welcome YouTube. I'm so glad that you're here. Oh, by the way, even if you're watching me on Facebook or Periscope or Twitter, I need you to go over and subscribe to my YouTube channel. All you have to do is search for RickyAllmon and subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, because starting the first Thursday in August, we will be exclusively on YouTube, and I don't want you to miss anything. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Those that are on YouTube, go ahead and like this video right now, and make sure you engage in comments. Whatever platform you're on, I like to read your comments. I like to respond back to you even while the show is going on, because you may have something to say that will add texture to the show. So I'm so glad that you're here. Somebody's telling you what to do right now. They say subscribe to the YouTube channel. So go ahead and get in there, subscribe to this channel. I'm glad you all are here tonight. As you're coming on, I need you to shout out your first name and what city you're on from. Go ahead, wherever you are, shout out your first name. I don't want you to give your whole government name. Somebody might be looking for you, and I don't want to be the reason they found you. but at least shout out your first name, what city you're representing. I hope y'all are doing well tonight. Our world has got so much going on in it, doesn't it? I mean, with the pandemic we're in and the evolution of that, with the other issues we're dealing with race and class. There's so much happening in our world, and we could literally pick any subject out of the sociological ether and have something to talk about tonight. But there's something specifically I want us to talk about, and I want to share with you tonight. Listen, as you're coming on, if you say, you know what, Dr. Allmon, I want to be connected to you. I want to make sure that I stay in touch with you. If you want to receive my empowerment e-newsletter, I need you to just text the word Ricky Allmon to 22828. I put out a monthly e-newsletter, and there's going to be some exciting news that's going to be in that newsletter about some things that are getting ready to be unveiled in August that I know you don't want to miss. And so if you want to find out what's getting ready to happen, go ahead and text the word Ricky Allmon to 22828. And then if you want to receive a text message about any events that I have or any conversations like this one that may be coming up, just text the word Impact Life to 31996. So make sure you do that tonight. Do that tonight so that you'll always be connected to whatever it is that I have going on. Text Ricky Allmon to 22828 and text the word Impact Life to 31996. I'm going to give you just about 30 seconds to do that right now while you have your cell phone in front of you. And while you're doing that, those of you that say I'm already connected, go ahead and shout out your city. Let me know where you're on from. I'm going to post some names up on the screen. I'm going to pop you up. I'm going to shout you out because I want you to know how important you are to me. And I'm going to say thank you. There's some of you that have been rolling with me from day one. This is our 13th episode, I believe, tonight. And some of you all have been rolling with me all the way through this. And so I want to thank you for your support. Paula is one of those people. Paula Evans, good to see you. How are you? She's been rolling with me from day one. I'm so glad that you're connected with me tonight. So come on in. Let me know where you're on from. Shout out your first name. Shout out your city. We're getting ready to get into this conversation tonight. Tonight, my subject is what lies beneath. Think about that. Have you ever seen water that was placid or that was still? I remember a movie that I watched once called Lake Placid. And there were some people in a boat just hanging out on the water. And of course, on the surface, it looked like nothing unusual was taking place, only for them to be disturbed by a creature from beneath the water. So that's what we're dealing with tonight. What lies beneath? I want to talk to you about expecting the unexpected. That's what we want to talk about. Go ahead and tag somebody that you know needs to watch this tonight. If you know somebody who's dealing with the unexpected, if you know somebody who's been wrestling with the uncertainty of this past almost 120 days, if you know somebody whose life has been disrupted, maybe they've been furloughed, maybe they've lost loved ones, or maybe they've been dealing with this virus themselves, and they don't know which way to turn, you need to tell them they need to hear this conversation tonight. We're talking about what lies beneath, how to expect the unexpected. One of my favorite poet philosophers, anybody that has heard me speak over any length of time has heard me make reference to this philosopher probably more than once, on multiple occasions. He's an early 20th century sage and writer named Khalil Gibran. And Khalil Gibran, in his book Sand and Foam, made this powerful statement. Khalil Gibran sagaciously stated, and I quote, "There's a treasure to be found anywhere in the earth, but you must dig with the faith of a peasant." Let me repeat what Khalil Gibran sagaciously stated. There is a treasure to be found anywhere in the earth, but you must dig with the faith of a peasant. What did he mean by that, Ricky? What Khalil Gibran was saying is that every situation in your life is designed to reveal something greater for your life. I want you to think about that. No matter what you're facing right now, no matter what hardships you've encountered, no matter what struggles you're going through, you may have been laid off your job. You may be dealing with relationship issues. Understand, every situation, every circumstance, every trial, every trauma, every trouble is designed to reveal something greater that's going to allow you to walk into a much more productive and fulfilling future. So you say, how is this going to happen? How do I posture my life to be expectation proof? So that I'll always have what I need to be able to see where I want to go, even when there are things happening around me that seem to contradict what I know belongs to me. Help me with this, Dr. Allmon. I'm struggling through this. I believe that something is better. I thought things were going to get better. I thought I was up for a promotion back in March. I thought the relationship was going to work out. I thought I was going to get that house. I mean, help me understand how to keep high expectations when everything around my life seems to be dragging me beneath the surface. It seems like I'm drowning. I'm suffocating. I don't know where up is or where down is. I don't know which way to turn. So there are a few questions for us to consider tonight. If you're going to live in a way where you expect the unexpected, and if you're going to reconcile what lies beneath, I want you to consider a couple of questions. You can type these on the screen. I'd prefer that you write them down so when this podcast goes off, you can muse on them, think about them. Number one, the first question I want us to consider tonight, and I've got a few friends that are going to help us in just a moment. But the first question I want you to consider, and as I ask these questions, I want you to assess whether or not it resonates with you and whether or not you find yourself in this question. The first question is, how do you maintain high expectations in the midst of uncertainty and the unexpected? How do I keep my head up when life is dragging me down? The second question I want you to consider is, how do you prevent complacency while yet not becoming presumptuous? To be presumptuous is to count your chickens before the eggs hatch. But at the same time, because you don't know how many chickens you're going to get out of the eggs, do I not prepare? Do I not be proactive? So how do I prevent complacency? How do I keep myself from being idle and just not doing nothing because I don't know what to do? The third question is, how do you plan if you don't have the structure, the resources, or the access to plan with? And I think during this time of pandemic, everybody has found themselves in this question to one degree or another. You're trying to plan for your future. You're trying to plan for your family. You've got financial planning and money you had saved up for a vacation that you can't even take right now. You've had to allocate that money for something else that you didn't even know you're going to have to cover because another stream of income you thought that would be coming in is not coming in. So how do you plan if you don't have the structure you used to, if you don't have the resources you used to, and if you don't have the access that you need? Earlier today, I was on a conversation with one of my biological sisters, Rachel, and I was talking to her about my thoughts concerning tonight's show. And as we began to talk, she stimulated some other thoughts. I began to ask her some questions, and so after my conversation with her, I decided to pose the questions that I just asked, along with another critical question to individuals that I consider to be high achievers. And so after I got off the phone with my sister, I started right in my house. And I posed those three questions that I just asked to my wife, along with another critical question. And then after that, I texted and reached out to a couple of other overachievers or high achievers with whom I have the pleasure of personal relationship. And the critical question that I asked them, I asked the other three questions, but the critical question that I asked them, and I want you to hear this tonight because they're going to help me help you. They're going to help me help you. And these individuals that are going to help me, as a matter of fact, I'm going to make sure that you know who they are on Facebook and Instagram, because they're individuals that you need to be following. They have books they've written. They've got services that they have to offer you that I know will bless your life. Paula, I miss you too. You all, if you're in Chicago, I'll be speaking in Chicago on Sunday. So you should see some more information about that soon. But these individuals who help me help you tonight, they're individuals that you need to be connected to because they've got other resources and tools that'll help you answer the questions that I just asked you. And it will definitely help you answer the critical question that I asked them. So here is the question that I posed to some of the high achievers in my life. The question that I asked them today is, what is one thing that you do consistently that it helps you to maintain a high level of expectation even while you're coping with uncertainty and the unexpected? That's the question we want to wrestle with tonight, along with the other three questions that I asked you. I asked them, what is one thing that helps you to maintain a high level of expectation even while you're coping with uncertainty and the unexpected? And I want to tag this elements for an ecosystem of expectation. The responses I got back from the high achievers in my life, the insight and the wisdom that I'm getting ready to share with you all tonight, is going to help you order the elements in your life that will help you to create an ecosystem of expectation for your life, no matter what's happening around your life. Okay, let me recapitulate that. The insight and wisdom that I aggregated from the high achievers connected to my life. I should have called you too, Dr. Jakes. The information, the insight, the wisdom that I got from them is going to help you create elements in your life for an ecosystem of expectation for your life, regardless of what's happening in your life. So the first person that I pose this question to is, how do you consistently maintain a high level of expectation even while you're coping with uncertainty and the unexpected. The first person I asked was my sister Rachel. And here's what she said to me. Rachel said, if you're going to maintain a high level of expectation in the midst of uncertainty, the first thing you need to do is explore the what ifs. Explore the what ifs. What does that mean, Ricky? Explore the what ifs. In other words, write down all the things that you desire to do. Just start making a list. I mean, it can be random, no particular order. Just whatever comes to your head that you know you have the ability to do, or maybe some things that you know you want to do. You may not have everything you need to do it, but you say, I'd like to try that if I could bring the right people around me. Just start exploring the what ifs. What if I wrote that book? What if I started that business? What if I applied for that house? What if I got that car? What if I decided to do something I've never done before? Begin to explore the what ifs. I don't want to get too much in your business, but maybe some of you want to share with me some of your what ifs. If you want to type it, go ahead and do that. What are some of the what ifs in your life? What are some of the things that you haven't done that during this time of uncertainty and the unexpected you've been thinking about doing? What if, I know I have pastors on here. What if you started another satellite that was all virtual along with your brick and mortar building? What if you engage some new paradigms of ministry? What if you put some new systems in place to replace the old systems? The first thing you got to do, if you're going to maintain high expectation in the midst of uncertainty and the unexpected, is explore the what ifs. The second person I talked to that I posed this question to was my wife. And she provides for us the second thing that you need to do, the second element you need for an ecosystem of expectation. I said to Demi, by the way, you can follow her on Facebook at BeLogicBody or on Instagram at BeLogic. She's got an exciting new line of natural skin products, natural body products coming out in August. And you want to be at the front of the line when they come out. She's doing some amazing, ingenious things that will just add to your self-care and your quality of life. So follow her on BeLogicBody and BeLogic on IG. So I asked Demi, how do you maintain a high level of expectation? I know I see you every morning. I know I watch how diligent you are. I know I get to see your genius in action on a daily basis. But what's happening internally? What is it that you think about? What is it that you consider? What motivates you besides me? What motivates you to maintain a high level of expectation? And she provides us the second element. She says, Ricky, I live with a bias for action. She lives with a bias for action. You know what the word bias means. It means to have a preference for. It means to give the utmost consideration to. I don't want to use the word prejudice, especially in this time. It just means you give it a high priority. So she says she lives with a bias for action. In other words, what that means is that she prefers to do something about whatever it is that's in front of her. She's not just going to sit there and look at it and say, you know what? Something needs to be done. You know what? One day I'm going to do that. No, she said the second element you need for an ecosystem of expectation is do what you know you need to do right now. Don't just sit there and have dreams of pie in the sky and the sweet by and by. No, what is it that you can be doing right now? July the 9th, 2020. What can you do right now that will make a difference later? You don't have to have everything figured out, but just do what you know to do right now. That's what a bias for action means. It means you do something. You're not paralyzed by analysis. You're not sitting there saying, well, once I get everything that I need, once I got all my ducks in the row, once I can find somebody to agree with me, then maybe. No, you need to have a bias for action. That means you ought to be motivated to take a chance whenever the chance presents itself. And that's very critical because that works along with exploring the what ifs. In order for you to explore the what ifs, you got to do something about the what if. You got to do something about the possibility. The third element that you need for an ecosystem of expectation comes from another one of my siblings, my biological brother, RickyAllmon. I text him and I say, Raymond, how do you maintain a high level of expectation in the midst of uncertainty and the unexpected? And here's what Raymond told me. It was so funny. He said, Ricky, you want me to be honest or you want me to give you an answer that's appropriate for your conversation tonight? I say, give me both. He said, okay, here's my honest answer. The way that I maintain a high level of expectation is every morning that I get up, I look at my bank account. Now he didn't tell me why he was looking at his bank account. That wasn't any of my business. He could have been looking at his bank account to just see how much money he had in there and how magnanimous it is and how voluminous it is. Or he could have been looking at his bank account to say, you know what? I know how much more money I need to make. He didn't tell me why he looked, but he just said, every morning I get up. And I think that's a pretty good motivation, especially if you know there are some things you want to accomplish. Just stop and look at your bank account or the lack thereof, and then measure from there what it is you need to do. And so he said, I look at my bank account every morning. But then on a serious note, he said, let me give you something you can share with those that'll be in the conversation. He said, I take 45 minutes every morning for what he called, write this down, white space. He says every morning he takes 45 minutes. Maybe you don't have that time, but maybe you've got 15 minutes or 30 minutes. I know my wife and I, we do meditation in the morning along with praying and devotion, but we have time just with meditation, some smooth jazz and just woosah, just breathe in and breathe out. But Raymond calls it white space. So the third element you need in your ecosystem of expectation is take time to breathe. Take time to create some white space. Yes, he is, Dr. Jakes. He's a great motivator. Take some time for white space. I asked Raymond, I said, why is this white space so important? He said, because Ricky, when I create this white space, this time to breathe, he said two things happen. Number one, I dream about what I want to create for my life. Watch this. And then he said, and I listen to what God wants to tell me about my life. Let me give it to you again. Raymond says the reason he takes 45 minutes every morning to create this white space is because, number one, he dreams about what he wants to create for his life. But then secondly, he listens. We need to type that word because we don't do enough of that. Listen. Listen to what God has to say about his life. I'm a firm believer that life is always talking. The issue is not whether or not life is talking. The issue is whether or not we're listening to what life is telling us. I don't want to get too much in your business tonight. Nah, let me be honest. Yes, I do. What has your life been telling you that you've been ignoring? What has your life been speaking to you? What has your life been telling you to move on from or to move into? So that's why it's important, if you're going to have an ecosystem for expectation, create a space that's only reserved for your dreams and for what God has to say about your life. The fourth element that you need for expectation. Oh, by the way, if you want to connect to Raymond, he's RickyAllmon on Instagram and on Facebook. You can connect to him there. The fourth element to create an ecosystem, the fourth element for an ecosystem of expectation comes from a friend and brother. He's not biological, but he's like he's biological. His name is Stephen Thurston. He's an author. He's a project manager. He's a thought leader. He's a motivator. He's a preacher. He's a teacher. And you can connect to Stephen at Stephen Thurston on Instagram and Facebook. Here's what Stephen Thurston had to say about the fourth element to create an ecosystem of expectation. I know, Reggie, this is good, isn't it? These are some weighty elements, some meaty elements. These elements have what I call gravitas on them. The fourth element that Stephen gives us, are y'all ready for this? He's kind of like Raymond. He had a little mischief in his response, but it was very honest. Stephen said, focus on the next acquisition or toy that's currently out of reach. That's what Stephen said. He said the fourth element for having an ecosystem of expectation so that you can live in high expectation, even in the midst of uncertainty, even in the midst of pandemic, even in the midst of COVID-19, even when you've been furloughed, even when you don't know when you'll get the promotion or the raise or if another opportunity is going to come. Stephen says, focus on the future. Focus on that next house or that next car or that next vacation. And then he said, engage it like you're getting ready to do it today. In other words, if you find a car, a house you want, or maybe there's somewhere you want to move to when this pandemic is over, Stephen said, start doing your research. Several times a week, just look the house up, look the car up, check the price fluctuations. Man, this is making me excited. Act like it's happening right now. I don't know about y'all, but my expectations are rising. Anybody else expectation? I'm trying not to have church now. I'll be preaching on Sunday, but I'm telling you, if somebody would get on an organ right quick, Jakes, I might just holler in here because my expectation is rising. You know why? Because I'm realizing that my life is not designed to be limited to my experiences. My life is not designed to be circumscribed by my circumstances. There is more for me, and guess where it is? It's right beneath the surface. There is something greater that's already waiting for my life. But like Khalil Gibran suggested, I've got to be able to dig, be willing to dig for it. I've got to be willing to go after it. So here comes the fifth and final element that you need for an ecosystem of expectation. I'm so thankful for my friends that contributed to this tonight. And again, I encourage you to go find them on Facebook, find them on Instagram, follow them, friend them, connect to the resources that they have that I promise you will make an impact on your life and help you to explore your potential, engage your passion, and expand your possibilities. Here's the fifth and final thing I want to give you tonight. It comes from another brother and friend who, again, is like a biological brother. His name is Jasper Williams III. Here's what Jasper told me. I asked Jasper, I said, how do you maintain a high level of expectation in the midst of uncertainty and the unexpected? I need y'all to lean in for this one because Jasper, he put it all together. He said, Rick, I don't know what it is when I'm collaborating with you, man. It makes me start thinking and the gears start turning on another level. I need y'all to write this down. I'm going to say it as slow as I can. Jasper said the way that he's able to consistently maintain a high level of expectation in the midst of uncertainty and the unexpected. Okay, it's going to be a lot, so I'm going to say it slow. He said, Ricky, you got to step up so you can step back, then look up so you can look back. Okay, I'm going to parse it. I'm going to elucidate it. I'm going to expand on the thought. Jasper said that the fifth element for an ecosystem of expectation is you got to step up, to step back, and then look up to look back. Okay, let's walk through all four stages. To step up means to be intentional and deliberate in exploring the details of what you would like to accomplish. Let me put it another way. It means to lean in. Yes, that's what step up means. Lean in. You can get a little closer. In other words, don't stand back from what you want to accomplish. Lean into what you want to accomplish. Look at it from all angles. Observe the nuances of it. Look at the pros and the cons, the positives and the negatives. As they say, don't be scared. I didn't say scared. Don't be scared. Lean in on it. So Jasper said, if you're going to have an ecosystem of expectation, you got to step up first. Lean in. See what you want to have and get as close to it as you can. So that's called the micro process. See it at its cellular level. Look at it at its core. What does it represent to you? What does it have to offer you? How will it make you feel? What will it help you accomplish? Lean in on it. Step up. But then secondly, he said after you step up, step back. What does it mean to step back? To step back mean examine how your expectations fit with the other elements in your life. It's not enough to lean into it. You ever heard the saying, you can't see the forest for the trees? It's not enough to just get up on the tree, but step back and see how the tree fits in the forest. Oftentimes, we can become so consumed with one idea or one goal or one thing that we want to accomplish that we lose ourselves in that and then lose our grasp on the other things that are necessary to work along with it. So it's important that while you're stepping up and leaning in on the goal in front of you, make sure you step back to examine how your expectations fit with the other elements in your life so that nothing around you that's important to you will suffer while you're reaching for what's in front of you. Let me recapitulate that. It's so important that while you're reaching for new goals and new possibilities in your life, please make sure that nothing around you that's important to you suffers or feels neglected while you're reaching for what's in front of you. So it's not enough to step up. You've got to step back. To step back is to keep a macro view of everything around you. But then thirdly, Jasper said, you've got to look up. Now this is good. So you step up, you step back, but then he said you got to look up. What that means is seek wisdom and insight so that you can approach every opportunity with spiritual maturity and emotional intelligence. Jasper, I took a little editorial liberty with what you said because I wanted to frame it in a certain way, sir, but thank you for the seed thoughts. To look up is to seek wisdom and insight so that you can approach every opportunity with spiritual maturity and emotional intelligence. Why is that so important, Ricky? Because you don't want to be anxious. You don't want to go into something like, oh, if this don't happen for me, my life won't work. The young people call it being thirsty. You don't want to look thirsty when you're going after something. You want to have a measured approach. You want to create a rhythm for your life. You know why that's important? So that you can see the pitfalls, so that you can see the blind spots. So look up, seek wisdom and insight so that you can approach every opportunity with spiritual maturity and emotional intelligence. And then the fourth part of what Jasper said in this fifth element for an ecosystem of expectation, Jasper said, I need you to get this now because this is so critical. He said, after you step up, after you step back, after you look up, he said, then look back. And this is where we're going to tie a bow on it tonight. Because I think this may be one of the most critical aspects of expectation that we don't do enough. We can become so preoccupied, especially those of you that are leaders and those of you that are purpose driven and those of you that are project driven and those of you that like to check all the boxes, the type A personalities. Sometimes we can become so preoccupied with what we want to accomplish that we don't stop to celebrate and pay attention and show gratitude for what we have accomplished. So to look back means to assess your progress. Watch this. So what if you didn't get to the place you wanted to be? Recognize that you're further along than you were. When I was a little boy in church, they used to sing a song that says, I may not be where I ought to be, but I'm not where I used to be. And I need everybody watching me and those that are going to watch this in replay, I need you to celebrate the fact that you're further along than where you were. No, you may not have hit the target yet. No, you may not have reached the goal yet. No, you may not have accomplished the dream yet. But I need you to learn how to celebrate on the journey. Because when you learn how to celebrate where you are, that then empowers you to recalibrate for where you're trying to go. So there are three things that happen when you learn to look back. There are three things that happen when you learn to do an assessment of how far that you've come. Number one, you learn the power of celebration. So that's what I want everybody to do right now. If you're still watching this and you hadn't left me, normally I'm on just for about 30 minutes. But if you haven't left me, I want you to just start tapping the screen on Twitter, on Facebook, on Periscope, on Instagram. I want y'all just to start releasing hearts. I want everybody to start celebrating. Think about one great thing in your life or one great thing you want to happen for your life and just start releasing some hearts, releasing some thumbs up right now before we get off. Because when you learn to look back, when you learn to assess your progress, the first thing you learn is the power of celebration. The second thing that happens when you learn to look back is you learn the power of validation. And validation is not waiting for somebody else to validate you. Validation is learning how to congratulate yourself. It's learning how to tell yourself, you know what, you're doing all right. You know what, you're moving pretty good. You know what, things are getting better for you. So it's not enough to know the power of celebration, but understand the power of validation. And if you don't have anybody around you to validate you or nobody sees the value of you, learn how to talk to yourself, and it's okay to answer yourself. You ought to ask a psychologist. You got to learn. Now just make sure you're not talking in one person and answering from another person. That's another clinical condition, but it's okay to talk to yourself and answer yourself. But when you look back, you learn the power of celebration, you learn the power of validation, and then thirdly, you learn the power of destination. Because the power of destination, watch this, is not when you reach where you want to be. Come here. The power of destination is what you discover about yourself on the way. I'm going to say that one more time. The power of destination is not you reaching where you want to be. The power of destination is what you discover and what you develop about yourself along the way. Listen, I hope you all got something out of this tonight. Please go ahead and share this on your timeline. Tag somebody. Tell them they need to go back and watch this. I am so glad that you joined me tonight. I hope this was informative. I hope it was insightful. And I hope it was inspiring. I hope you smiled a little more. I hope you got a few laughs in. But I'm so glad that you joined me. And I'm thankful again to my partners in purpose, my partners in expectation tonight, who gave us the elements that we need for an ecosystem of expectation. Thank you to my wife, Demi. Go and follow her. Be Logic Body on Facebook. Be Logic on Instagram. RickyAllmon, go and follow her on Facebook and Instagram. She has a management consulting firm, and I promise you it will empower your life. Those of you that are entrepreneurs, that are creatives, that have different concepts and ideas that you're trying to put into motion, you need to go and connect with her. Her company is C2M Management Consultants. C2M Management Consultants. Thank you to Raymond Allman. Connect with Raymond at Raymond Allman. Thank you to Stephen Thurston. Connect to Stephen Thurston on all platforms at Stephen Thurston. And then thank you to Jasper Williams III. And you can connect to him on all platforms at Jasper Williams III. I'm blessed. I don't know about you, but I'm blessed to be surrounded, to be immersed in high achievers. And guess what? You just added some high achievers to your life. Because tonight, you didn't only get insight and inspiration and information from me, but you got it from Demi, you got it from Rachel, you got it from Raymond, you got it from Stephen, you got it from Jasper. Matter of fact, stop by their pages and just shout them out and say, you know what? Thank you for what you gave me tonight. I'm glad you joined me. If this added to your life, you can just say thank you however you want to say it. But there's a Cash App, the Impact Group. It's right there on this video, or you can just go to Ricky Allmon. Some people say, I just want to send something to you to tell you thank you for what you're doing. You can do that. I don't care what it is. It can be $1 and I'll say thank you. And you don't even have to do that. You can just say thank you. But I'm so glad that you were here. Listen, I've got a few things I want you to connect to. If you don't have it already, you can get the Life Lessons book. I know many of you have it. Just go to RickyAllmon.org or thelifelessonsbook.com and get the Life Lessons book. I promise you, those 31 Proverbs for a life of purpose and productivity will revolutionize your life. As a matter of fact, don't buy one book, buy 10 books. You can also get it on Amazon. You can get it on Kindle. You can get it in Apple Books. If you say, I don't want the hard copy, I just want a digital copy, just go to any of those major platforms. You can find it there. But if you buy the hard copy, my signature will be in it. I promise to autograph it for you, and we'll get it right to you and get one for you and everybody else that you love. Also, we have the Life Lessons audio book that's available. So if you want the life, you say, well, I don't feel like reading it, but I want to listen to something at night. Well, listen, there it is for you. Same thing, all major platforms, Amazon, Audible, iTunes, and it's in my voice. So I'm the one that's narrating it, and you can go and get that. What else do I have going on here? Anything else I need to tell you about? I've actually got a free download of the audiobook. If you want a free download of the audiobook, I'll show you how to get it. All you have to do is be willing to write a review after you listen to the book. So info@RickyAllmon.org. And you can also email me there if you just want more information about anything that we're doing, or you say, I need a life coach in my life, I need a mentor in my life, I need somebody to connect to my life. All you got to do is hit me at info@RickyAllmon.org, and I've got everything that you need, and I promise to respond back to you. And then lastly, me and my brother Stephen Thurston, every Saturday at 11:30 a.m., one of my other brothers, who's also my frat, was just on here, Dr. Jakes. He was one of our guest co-hosts this past Saturday. If you did not see it, go back in my timeline. If you're on YouTube, go back in my videos and watch that video. It will be entertaining. It will be enlightening. It will be edifying. Go back and watch that. But Stephen and I are on every Saturday at 11:30 a.m. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being a part of Life Talks, where we seek to empower you to explore your potential, engage your passion, and expand your possibilities. Thank you. Have a good night. I holla.